What if there is a man? We all know we're not perfect. There is this man in his home, he makes the wrong decision at every point in time. And the woman knows within herself that the decision this man is making is wrong. All efforts to correct the man leads to violence. At that point in time, should she submit and be submissive to the man's decision, even though the decision is wrong or will likely lead to something negative or is not the best decision? She should keep quiet and let the man have his way at all time, or what should she do?
Praise the Lord. I believe there is no war or battle or whatever it is that you cannot win on your knees. When you are married to a man that is going on the wrong side, and it's difficult to correct or make him see reason, number one, you need to take it to God. You need to talk to God to give you the wisdom to handle it. And then beyond that, you also need to find a time that is conducive, that you can, talk to him about it. There is this saying in, I don't know how to, but let me just, what it means is that even a mad person has his own time. He has his own time that, of sanity. So if you have a husband that is violent, that is, is not amenable to correction, that you cannot even talk to, I'm sure that there will be a time, that he's in his right sense, that he's sane. You need to know the man you are married to. You need to look for such a time. And then you also need to ask God for wisdom, as to how to place it before him such that he would not take it wrongly. And if he does all the time, then it means you have to, you have to hold back a little and start praying for him. Because if you go any further, if you try to force anything on him, it will lead to something. It will lead to something that is not good for your marriage. It can even scatter the marriage. So you need to ask God for wisdom, to handle it, and you also need to pray for him, for God to soften his mind, so that when you talk to him about such things, you'll be, amenable to correction. You'll be willing to receive whatever it is you're trying to correct him about.
All right, our next question is to Barrister Chima. Okay, just two more questions. One for Barrister Chima. Sir, the deed has been done, and this person is asking for consequences. The person wants you to expatiate on the consequences of the actions on domestic violence. I mean, as a legal person.
Praise the Lord. It all depends on the deed that has been done. There are a lot of measures and punishment for domestic violence, which Lagos State government particularly is taking very, very strict. And the first thing they tell you is this: if you notice any trace of assault for a woman, run for your dear life. Any trace of assault, next thing, run out. You can't even explain when a man will kill you or a woman will kill you. If there's a trace that the man wants to raise his hand or the woman, just the first step and the first rule about survivor is escape. But for the punishment, it's very strict. It's about 7 years imprisonment, if I'm correct. And it's strict now because a lot of people has been killed by what they didn't plan for. So I want to assure you that the government has put in place measures to protect women, to protect men, because it's not only about men assaulting men, but I'm seeing issues of, honestly, almost on any basis, we have issues of women victimizing their husband, emotionally victimizing them, assaulting them, and they can't even see.
Domestic violence. Round it up, Papa. Thank you very much, sir. Are you on applause for Papa, please?
Praise the Lord. The first thing, I don't even know why they call it domestic violence. Because violence is violence. the question that what do I do if I have a husband or a wife that is violent, what do I do? I like the answer. Run for your life. You can, if a marriage is a contract, and when somebody starts to beat you, then that means there is no marriage. Because marriages are tied to vows. And when a man begins to beat you, it's a sign of weakness. Only weak men beat their wives. And only women that are not materials for marriage insult their husbands. Even pastors beat their wife. I've counseled a lot of pastors that beat their wife. General overseers, archbishop, archpope, whatever. They still beat their wives. But beating a woman generally is a sign of weakness. I won't even beat Angel. Angel is 20 years now. I am 18. 19, okay. She has corrected me several times. But I have never, not even, because violence may not be beaten, it may be insults. I have never said, Angel, you are stupid. I've never said, Angel. So if I can't say that to Angel, how will I say that to the mother? I've never beaten her in these 19 years. I've never spanked her. Is it wrong to spank a child? No. If I told the Angel about 17 years or so ago, I called her and I said, Angel, the day I will beat you, oh God. And she's been dreading that day. And I have not allowed her the privilege of experiencing that day. Because the day she will experience that day, she will say, okay, this is what he said 17 years ago. So that is all. When you beat a child, the child gets used to the beating. Then when you do anything, he prepares his mind. And then he says, he will beat me. And the same thing with violence. When you beat your wife, you have just shown your wife that you are not a man. And when you insult or you are not submissive, my wife is, so many pastors say this and they lie and they pretend. In fact, so many pastors act marriage. On Sundays, they are acting Nollywood. They call themselves darling, they call themselves honey, they call themselves all sorts of acting name. I don't call Mama darling. I don't call her beloved. I don't call her my darling. I call her Mama. And the Mama is different tones. If she offend me, Mama. But it will take a madman to think I don't love my wife. I've never beaten her, I've never insulted her, I've never assaulted her. I've never, in all these our years of marriage, and nobody on earth, not one person on earth, has ever sat us down to say, why were you quarreling? Either dead or living. Not one person, dead or living. Do we disagree? Oh, yes. In fact, me and Mama, all the things we do, not all, most of our taste and choices are different. but we spend more time together. That I spend more time with Mama than any human being on earth. We are always together. We are intimate. So I can't even imagine myself beat Angel, not to talk of beat Mama. And one of the reasons, I have to be very frank with you, one of the reasons why women are not submissive to their husbands is because some husbands are stingy. You are just a wicked, stingy man. Am I communicating? A man that you can give to girlfriend, you can't give to your wife. And then you want respect. You want honor. The only car your wife drives is after you have driven one for years. Then the mechanic say, "Oga, this car no good again." They say, "Honey, you can have this." It's not love. Actually, when I buy a car, I buy for us. Everything that I own in life has Mama's name on it. Everything. One time, there was a problem and somebody was trying to get to my account or something. Mama called the bank and Mama told them, the bank, they didn't even waste time because they know her. So I don't have to write a will for Mama to take charge over my life. I don't have to write a will or this thing if I die. Before I die, she's in control. So what? And that is what they call a family. A family. You cannot expect respect when you don't respect yourself. Domestic violence can even come from children. A child that doesn't respect his father is domestic violence. When you call your father's name, even as low as not greeting your father. You see, we are in a generation that is sick. We're in a generation that a child will tell the father, "Oh boy, how are you doing?" Yes, we're in that generation. But it's a sick generation. It's a generation that doesn't know that when you greet your father, you should bow. That is the problem we have in the world. And that is why the institution of marriage is not what was handed over to us. So why will I have violence with Mama or with Angel when I can only think family? Can you imagine I beat Mama and he calls Pastor Chima or he calls Pastor Morgan, Pastor Brody or the pastor and he says, "Papa beat me."